You probably think a freight railroad company simply moves trains from one city to another, load the cargo, drive across the country, unload it, and repeat. Sounds simple, right? But the reality is far more impressive. Every day, enormous freight trains stretching for more than 2 miles transport everything from shipping containers and automobiles to coal, grain, fuel, steel, and construction materials. A single train can carry the same amount of cargo as hundreds of trucks, making railroads one of the most efficient and profitable transportation businesses in the world. Behind every freight train is a massive business empire built on locomotives, rail networks, freight terminals, warehouses, maintenance facilities, and advanced logistics systems. Some railroad companies own tens of thousands of miles of track, operate thousands of locomotives, and generate billions of dollars every year by keeping America's economy moving. So, how does the freight railroad business actually make money? Who owns the tracks? And why is rail transportation still one of the most important industries in the modern world? Today, we're taking you inside the freight railroad business. Long before highways carried millions of trucks, railroads were the backbone of America's economy. During the 19th century, expanding railroad networks connected farms, factories, mines, and ports, allowing goods to move across the country faster than ever before. Entire towns and industries grew alongside the tracks, transforming the United States into an economic powerhouse. Today, while passenger trains receive much of the public attention, freight railroads quietly move around 30.40% of America's long-distance freight by weight. Every day, they transport millions of tons of cargo that keep factories running, supermarkets stocked, power plants supplied, and businesses operating. Without freight railroads, many of the products we rely on every day would become far more expensive to transport. Here's something that surprises most people. Many people think the government owns all the railroad tracks in America. But that's only partly true. While passenger rail services often operate on public infrastructure, most of America's major freight railroads are privately owned. Companies invest billions of dollars to build, maintain, and expand thousands of miles of railroad tracks, bridges, tunnels, rail yards, and terminals. These companies don't just own trains, they own an entire transportation network. Every locomotive, freight car, rail terminal, maintenance facility, and logistics center is part of a massive business designed to move cargo as efficiently as possible. Some railroad companies operate more than 20,000 miles of track and transport millions of tons of freight every year. Their customers include manufacturers, farmers, mining companies, retailers, ports, and shipping companies that rely on rail to move products across the country. In other words, freight railroads aren't simply transportation companies, they own one of the most valuable infrastructure networks in America. Moving trains is only one part of the business. The real money comes from transporting almost everything the economy depends on. Freight railroads carry shipping containers filled with imported goods, automobiles from manufacturing plants, grain from farms, coal and minerals from mines, fuel and chemicals from refineries, lumber for construction, and countless other products. Instead of charging passengers for tickets, railroad companies charge businesses to transport cargo. The farther the shipment travels and the larger the volume, the more revenue the railroad earns. Many companies also provide additional services like intermodal transportation, cargo storage, rail terminal operations, and specialized freight handling. This creates multiple revenue streams beyond simply moving trains from one destination to another. The result is a business that operates around the clock, keeping America's supply chain moving while generating billions of dollars every year. One of the biggest reasons freight railroads are so profitable is efficiency. Imagine moving hundreds of truckloads of cargo using just one train. A single freight train can carry the equivalent of 300 to 500 trucks, reducing fuel consumption, labor costs, and highway congestion. That means railroad companies can transport massive amounts of freight using fewer employees and far less fuel per ton of cargo than trucks. The savings are enormous. Businesses choose rail because it's one of the most cost-effective ways to move heavy goods over long distances. Whether it's coal from a mine, grain from a farm, automobiles from a factory, or shipping containers arriving from a port, railroads help companies reduce transportation costs while moving huge volumes of cargo every day. That's why freight rail remains the preferred choice for many industries, even after more than 150 years. Freight railroad companies don't rely on just one source of income. Every train carries different types of cargo, and each shipment generates revenue. One train might transport shipping containers from a port, while another delivers automobiles to dealerships, grain to food processors, fuel to refineries, or steel to construction companies. Many railroad companies also earn money through intermodal transportation, where shipping containers are transferred seamlessly between ships, trains, and trucks. They operate rail terminals, lease rail cars, provide storage services, and offer specialized transportation for oversized or hazardous cargo. The more industries a railroad serves, the more stable and profitable the business becomes. That's why America's largest freight rail companies move millions of shipments every year while supporting nearly every major industry in the country. Running a freight railroad isn't just about moving cargo. It's about maintaining one of the largest transportation networks in the world. Every mile of railroad track must be inspected regularly. Bridges, tunnels, rail crossings, signals, locomotives, and thousands of freight cars require constant maintenance to keep trains operating safely. Weather is another major challenge. Heavy snowstorms, floods, hurricanes, landslides, and extreme heat can damage tracks or delay shipments. Even a single disruption on a busy rail corridor can affect supply chains across multiple states. Freight railroads also compete with trucking companies, barges, and pipelines. To stay competitive, they must deliver cargo on time while keeping transportation costs low. Despite these challenges, rail remains one of the most reliable and cost-effective ways to move heavy freight across long distances, making it an essential part of America's economy. The freight railroad industry is evolving faster than ever. Modern locomotives are becoming more fuel efficient, while advanced computer systems help dispatch trains, optimize routes, and reduce delays. Many railroads now use drones, sensors, and AI-powered monitoring systems to inspect tracks and detect problems before they become serious. Intermodal transportation is also expanding rapidly. As global trade grows, more shipping containers are moving seamlessly between cargo ships, freight trains, and trucks, making railroads an even more important link in the supply chain. Some companies are even testing battery electric and hydrogen-powered locomotives to reduce fuel consumption and emissions. As technology continues to improve, freight railroads will remain one of the most efficient ways to move goods across North America. Freight railroads are far more than long trains carrying cargo across the country. They are the invisible network that keeps factories producing, farms exporting, stores stocked, and businesses operating every single day. By moving massive amounts of freight efficiently and reliably, railroads help lower transportation costs and support nearly every major industry in America. The next time you see a freight train stretching across the horizon, remember, it's not just transporting cargo. It's carrying the products that power the economy and the businesses that keep the nation moving. What surprised you the most about the freight railroad business? Was it that one train can replace hundreds of trucks? That private companies own vast rail networks? Or that railroads generate revenue from so many different industries? Tell us your answer in the comments below. If there's another business you'd like us to explore, let us know. We might feature it in our next documentary. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into the world's biggest businesses. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.